Welcome to the Red Half of Sheffield preview of the 2024-2025 EFL Championship season. Notably in the past, we have always done our predictions of 1st through 24th on our podcast, but this time around, we're doing something a little bit different. We are going to run down who we think is going to go up, who we think is going to go down, and everybody in between, and give you our rankings, basically 1 through 24. Chad and I have made independent lists. First and foremost, I just want to say I'm joined as always by Chad Jarvis.
Hello.
And we are going to be giving our individual rankings of where we think teams are going to finish, give a little bit of a reason, and then kind of merge our rankings and produce one definitive list for the red half of Sheffield. So, Chad, getting right into it in no particular order, the Hull City Tigers. Where do you think the Hull City Tigers are going to finish come the end of the 24-25 season?
I have the Tigers of Hull just outside of the playoffs. I have them coming in at the 7th position. I think they're going to surprise a few people this season. The backing of the owners dumping a lot more money in it, Liam Rossigna leaving his position at Hull, that does hurt. So I think they're going to be a little bit sluggish out of the gate. But once they get the ship righted, in my eyes, I think they have what it takes to, as I mentioned, just miss out on the playoffs, but actually rebound and give it a right good go. I'm probably missing the playoffs. I don't have points totaled to them, but yeah, I mean, just on the outside looking in for me. What about you, Mr. Schneider?
So, notably, Ryan Giles has joined from Luton Town for a decent fee. They've also signed Drame from Cody Drame was
Leeds.
from Leeds, right? Right, yes. But they've lost a few, right? They lost Jacob Greaves to Ipswich, and they lost Jaden Philogene as well, who left for Villa. So, if they can reinvest the money, I think that they got from both of those players, through the rest of the window, potentially they could do better than where you put them at 7th. I actually have them a little bit lower. I have them at 10th currently. So, I mean, I think it's safe to say that they're going to be somewhere in between 7 and 14 at this point.
We might as well put them 10.
All right.
Right in the middle.
All right, we will we'll go ahead and put them in 7 through 14. As you can see on our handy dandy tier maker right here. So next up, again, this is in no particular order. Blackburn Rovers, Chad. Where do we think Blackburn Rovers are going to finish?
A lot of people have Blackburn near the bottom.
Yeah.
When I did this, I also had Blackburn near the bottom, but for some reason, I have them escaping the drop zone and finishing 21st. I mean, Blackburn, it's tough to say. They're almost a team in flux. They just don't seem like they can do anything right, and they haven't done much business in the transfer window, so you're not really hopeful for them. John Eustace had Birmingham flying last year before he was inevitably sacked, and you clearly see where they finished, and now they'll be playing their football in League One. I just think Blackburn, I don't want to say surprise people because, yeah, I have them 21st, but I don't think they're going to be as bad as people. I think I even have them too low for what I think Blackburn, they might finish as high as like 16th, 15th. The hell, they might even screw around and finish higher than us if we don't, get things sorted. So
Well,
I don't think it's all bad.
I think that it's going to be largely predicated on whether or not they lose Sammy Smodics, possibly going to Ipswich, and Sam Gallagher, who looks like he's going to be signing for Stoke at this point. So, based on the loss of those two players, I haven't seen enough coming in. I mean, the only guy that they've really brought in so far is Mokhtar Gehi, who's a center forward. Um, I I can actually see them making the drop. I actually have them at 22nd as of this moment. Of course, we know this is going to change. That window is still open for a good while longer. So we will probably see more come through the door for Blackburn Rovers. But as of this moment, I have them dropping down into League One. So I'm going to put them, at this point, Chad, I'm going to stick them just outside of the drop, because I'm interested to hear who else you have finishing bottom this season. But at this point, I'm sticking Blackburn Rovers towards the bottom. We'll say towards the bottom, and then we can revisit it later.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right. Next up, let's talk Norwich City.
Norwich City. I believe, as I go to my handy dandy phone book, I've got them fourth.
Okay.
I think Norwich is. I mean, they're giving. I think last year was more of a consolidation, and in this year, still might be some of that consolidation. I mean, but I just think Norwich are just a team that might surprise people a little bit, instead of everybody be like, "Oh, Norwich, they have the looks of being a bang average team." At going into this, everybody has their ideas, and I'm trying to plan for what's less than a year away. So why not them finish fourth? They got a new manager coming in, maybe a new change of scenery, a few players in, a bunch of players out the door. I don't know. Why not fourth?
Well, notably, they haven't made many additions. Jose Cordoba from Sofia and Ben Crescent from Villa, and they were both signed for like low £1 million fees, basically. But importantly, they haven't seen a lot going out, and I think that's what's going to drive them to finish closer to the top than the middle of the pack. So
go ahead.
No, you go.
And as I said, I think we're going to see a different Norwich than we've seen in the past. I don't think they're going to necessarily blow everybody's doors off as they've done in the past few seasons where they score a bunch of goals. I think they might be more defensively sound, and might just creep up there towards the end of the season.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in the playoffs as of this moment, but we might change that. I have them 8th at this right now, but yeah, again, I think that could change. They could sneak into the playoffs. They could do well. They could do even better than that. But at this point, I think I'm going to put them just inside the playoffs. But I'll average our 2 out, and that gets 6th. So let's stick them, just inside the playoffs here. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on. Preston North End.
Oh, my handy dandy phone book has Preston. I think this is too low for me. I have them 19th. I just think, they're not anything special. They're not anything too whole terribly bad. I mean, they're just an average run of the mill. We're not going to get relegated. side.
Yeah.
For me.
Never in danger of going down or going up. They just typically always seem to be a fixture of the championship. Personally, I think they're going to be perhaps a little bit weaker. They haven't really signed. I mean, they added Sam Greenwood on loan from Leeds, and Stefan Tacher Thordenson from Silkeborg in the Superliga, but they haven't done a ton of business other than that. Notably, they lost Alan Brown on a free to Sunderland and Ben Woodburn to Salford City. That's not as much of a note, but I kind of agree with you, Chad. I actually have them bang on with you, 19th. So let's get them up into 15 to 21. Next up, let's talk QPR.
Oh, QPR, another name, another side synonymous with middle of the road in the championship. I have them 15th. It's just I'm starting to put them along with the likes of, as we'll talk about, Stoke, teams that are just there, that are just almost like space fillers. New manager Marty Cifuentes. Can he
get them going?
I don't know. I just don't. I just don't know.
Yeah,
not. I am 15th.
Not many notable incomings. Zan Seller from Lugano. I had not heard of him. Goalkeeper Paul Nadry from Kent. Liam Morrison, who was with Bayern Munich too. But, again, these are players I've not heard of. They're kind of unproven. And notably, they've lost Sinclair Armstrong and Chris Willock. So I have them finishing. I think this is actually kind of high because I'll be honest, and no offense to QPR fans, but they were a little bit of an afterthought for me when I was doing this list. I had them finishing 9th, but I do think that they'll probably finish closer to 14th or 15th. So I'm going to stick them in 7 through 14.
They did sign Charlie Kelman, who used to play for my Southend United, and I saw him score a goal against Plymouth from the halfway line. It was pretty impressive. He then went to he left Southend. Where the hell did he go? I don't remember where he went there. But yeah, he's bounced around the lower leagues. He was going to be a good youth talent, and just he ended up sucking a bag of ass.
It happens. Next up, Stoke City.
Stoke. Oh, well, we're doing run-of-the-mill average teams in the championship. I got Stoke 17th. Not really.
So
what are you going to Stoke?
They added Victor Johansson, who I think with a decent defense in front of him is actually a really good shot stopper. Obviously, United were in for him. They added Ben Gibson on a free previously from Norwich, Eric Jr. Bocat from Wimbledon, and they're rumored to be in for Sam Gallagher. So that would be decent business for them, but I don't think they're going to be challenging for top half of the table at this point. They didn't finish very high last season, and I think it's going to be yet another rebuilding year for them. I actually have them 20th.
I mean, if they get Sam Gallagher, he definitely improves their side just a touch, and it might climb the rungs a few places.
Yeah, but for the moment, we're not doing this, predicated upon what could happen. We're doing this predicated upon what we see on paper right now. Obviously, this list will change. This is, again, our way too early championship prediction. We'll probably run this back and do it again once that first window closes, come the end of the first month in the championship. But for the moment, I have Stoke to finish in between 15 and 21. Next up, let's go with Bristol City, perennial 12th, Bristol City.
I have them finishing 10th. I think it's going to be a season of where or Bristol City, where the Robins kind of get it. They don't put it completely together and get in the playoffs, but it's more so of them, getting up into the top half of the table finish, which in the last few years it's been bang average or below for the Robins.
So they've added this Fali Mayulu from Rapid Vienna, estimated to be worth over £2 million. And then, so we'll see what happens. I have them to finish 13th. So
another bang average season.
Yep. Also, never in danger of going up or going down. Bristol City, 7th through 14th. Next up, let's do Swansea City.
Oh, one of the two Welsh teams in this division. I have them right in and around Stoke. I have them 16th. Just another no too fancy.
Yeah, I have them to finish exactly where they finished this last season. They were 14th last season. I have them finishing 14th this season. And I mean, they've added Lawrence Vigouroux, who served as Burnley's third string keeper last season, didn't see any action. He was with Leyton Orient and Swindon Town previously, and he had a decent goalkeeping record, but not sure if he's it for the Swans. They've also added Giancarlo Franco from, I'm going to butcher this, Moriense, and Ji-Sung Eom from the K-League, but they lost Nathan Wood, Jerry Yates, Placheta, and Ogbeta this summer. But they did get a decent fee for Wood, who went to Southampton. So if they use that money, reload, go again, maybe they could finish a little bit higher. Right now, I have them in 14th. So let's stick them on the lower end of that 7 to 14. How does that sound, Chad?
I'm okay with it.
Perfect. Next up, Millwall.
I believe I have them bang right. Actually, not bang right in the middle. 14th. I have them 14th. And again, the last 5 teams you've named have all been. We're gonna stay in this division, and we're gonna be irrelevant for most of the season.
Well, here's the thing. They added Macaulay Langstaff, and he was just bagging them for fun in the lower leagues. Do you think he can do it at championship level?
I mean, it's worth a shot. This will be his highest. This will be his highest league he's played in. So, I mean, he's definitely going to take some time, but he definitely, if he hits the ground running and bags a few goals,
yeah.
I mean, you could see Millwall climb the league and maybe put some pressure on those playoff spots.
Well, some people are saying that they're going to finish towards the bottom. I don't think that they're going to finish towards the bottom. I think they've reliably finished middle of the table, the last several years. I don't see them higher than 13th or 14th. I have them currently at 16th. So why don't we put them, kind of towards the front of this 15 to 20 slot for the time being. And then, if there's anything that you vehemently disagree with at the end, Chad, we can make our arguments. All right.
Fine with me.
Perfect. Next up, the other Welsh club, Cardiff City FC.
I have the Bluebirds sadly finishing 22nd. It's just they've been circling the drain for too many years now, and I think it's one of those things where they might need to drop down a division and consolidate because they haven't been very good since they were in the Premier League. They've almost been tied to a rock, and it's just kind of been year after year after year after year after year. They just get lower and lower and lower in the division. I just think this year something has in my head has them going down.
I don't see it personally. I have them finishing 18th. They finished 12th last season. I think they'll struggle a little bit more this season, but they added Callum Chambers from Aston Villa on loan, Wilfred Kanga from Hertha Berlin, and Chris Willick on a free. So, I don't think they're necessarily stronger this season, but I don't think that they've taken so much of a nosedive that they're going to be in a solid relegation battle. They might be in a soft relegation battle at some point, but I really don't think it's going to be close for them as far as danger of drop. Yeah. But with that being said, Chad, I'll go ahead and put them in between Millwall and Stoke right now.
Okay.
Perfect. Next up, Watford.
I think like Norwich. Where do I like to compare Watford and Norwich together a lot. I have Norwich top. I have Watford 11th. I think this might be one of the teams that could sneak up and surprise some people and get into the playoffs, despite me having them 11th. Yeah, I know I'm a giant hypocrite. But, something weird is happening. Like they might have their lives together a little bit. The whole thing is I'm a little bit worried of having Tom Cleverley as manager. Really unproven.
Their best player is gone, though. Ismail Kone left. He's at Marseille now.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world for a team like that. They got Sissoko back, who
yes,
they sold to Nantes and then brought him back in the last couple of weeks. So it's not all doom and gloom for.
That's true. That's true. He's got, I think, Europa League and Champions League experience as well.
Yeah, he's coming back to his home.
He's a little bit past it though, isn't he?
34. Billy Sharp's 45 still playing. So where there's a will, there's a way, I guess.
Yeah. They also added former LA Galaxy keeper Jonathan Bond, who will probably maybe get half a game for them. I just wanted to drop some LA Galaxy into this podcast because I so rarely get the opportunity. So with that being said, I have them at 11th. Chad,
exactly where I have them.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, we'll throw them in between Bristol City and QPR right now on the 7 through 14 tier and move right along. Next up, a club that is near and dear to your heart, Chad, Sunderland.
Reggie Labrise. I think they're 6th. I have them 6th.
They're going to get playoffs. I feel like they're going to get playoffs.
I don't think they're going to get playoffs. I personally think they finish about 10th when everything shakes out. I think it's going to be a slower start to the season. They haven't really brought any players in. They're
Alan
still
Brown.
lacking a striker, which really, 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 really killed them last year.
But who they do have? You know who they did bring in? Simon Moore.
Yeah, to be the
our goalkeeper kit model.
Yeah, that he'll play. Actually, he started today in the loss against Bradford City. But yeah, 6th, yes. If you're optimistic, if you're probably realistic, it's more towards 10th. So if you think they're in the playoffs,
I do. I think. At the moment, I do have them in the playoffs. I also think that Ian Pavetta from Leeds, that they did that business right.
I think he came in from Wednesday.
Oh, sorry.
He played.
You're right.
He played most of it. He played his football last year Wednesday.
Right. But he was Leeds' player, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Sunderland, the Black Cats are going into the playoffs for the moment. We can make our arguments again towards the end, but that's where we'll put them for now. Next up, let's talk. We'll go with one of my picks to finish very, very high in Leeds United.
Yeah, I think they're going to finish first. I think they win it.
Yeah.
They don't really need to be in this division, and obviously they lost last year in what was a pathetic final in their case. But man, they pick a Bogle. I mean,
Yeah.
They still have Somerville. I mean, they're gonna have the best team in the league.
He might be going to West Ham.
Allegedly.
They also added Joe Rodon from Spurs, but Archie Gray's gone out. Sinistera's gone out. So those are going to be losses, right?
Yeah, and the reason they had to get most of them players off the books was due to they couldn't afford them anymore, so they had to get them off the. If they're able to hold on to Somerville, they are going to be a badass team.
Yeah, I actually do have them as champions. I have them winning the whole damn thing. So, I mean, you hate to see it, but at the same time, you got to call them like you see them, right?
Yeah, I mean, Joel Pirot up front, Daniel James, Ethan Ampadu looks like a competent player now.
It's crazy considering we had him on loan, 4 seasons ago, and he was terrible for us.
Yeah, but he's not a Premier League player. He's more of a championship player than he is Premier League. That's why he's succeeding. That's why he's such a stalwart in that midfield last year for Leeds, is because he's playing at his level. If they get promoted, they'll move on from him because he's just not good enough for that level.
Yeah. Next up, Plymouth Argyle.
Wayne Rooney's Plymouth Argyle.
Wayne Rooney's Plymouth Argyle.
I have them finishing 23rd, mostly because Wayne Rooney is a moron and they should have never hired him as a coach. But I mean,
especially if they lose Cooper. If United pick up Cooper and I see them as weaker than they were last year, and I see the championship as slightly better than it was last year as well, at least towards the bottom. And I think they're going to struggle. I also have them finishing 23rd this season.
I mean, they got Morgan Whittaker though.
Mm-hmm.
If he finds his form like he did, but then he went quiet the second half of the season, they might be in with a shout, and I would really like to see them stay up.
I will tell you, Chad,
Wayne Rooney.
I have a little bit of a soft spot for Plymouth Argyle, for no other reason than I really like their kits most years. Like, they had a kit like 3 years ago, which for my money is probably one of the greatest kits I've ever seen. It was the one with the pinstripes. Mm-hmm. Oh, that thing was an absolute banger.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see them go down, but at the same time, the decisions that they've made thus far, they haven't brought in enough decent players. Darko Diaby from Leeds on loan, Ibrahim Sissoko coming in from Toulouse, and Mohamed Tijani on loan from Slavia Praga. I mean, that transfer record doesn't scream to me that they're going to be doing anything decent this season. So unfortunately, we have Plymouth to make the drop this season. Next up, I mean, it's kind of worked out this way, but we kind of have a lot of the promotion contenders and relegation contenders towards the end. Want to keep you on edge a little bit here. Let's talk about the Pigs. Sheffield Wednesday.
I think I had them. Let me pull up my handy dandy phone book. I had them 12th. They've added quite a few players to their side.
Yep.
And I think Danny Rowe, I really like him as a manager. I think he is a really, really, really good manager. And I think, dare I say, I think he's got something in the works at Wednesday. And I think they're going to be a much improved team now. If it would have unfortunately, or if it would have went the other way and they got relegated, then they would have been in a world of hurt. But I think they're going to be a much better side.
Yeah, I do think that they are going to do better than they did last season. They're definitely not going to be in a relegation battle this year. With the likes of Olaf Kobacki from the Polish league, Jan Valeri from Angers in Liga 1. They obviously signed Max Lowe. I don't think he's that great of a player personally, but maybe that's just sour grapes. Jamal Lowe from Bournemouth, Nathaniel Shabola from West Brom on a free transfer. They've signed a lot of players. I don't really think anybody's signed more players than they have this offseason in the championship. So, they've reloaded, they've sort of rebuilt for the championship again this season, and I do have them 15th as of this moment. So you said 12th, Chad. Mm-hmm. So let's put them 13th, on aggregate here, basically. Okay. Next up, let's talk probably, at least for me, another relegation candidate, Oxford United.
Yeah. As bad as I see Oxford, I really wanted them to stay up, and I was hoping they did better business in the transfer window, and we still have about a month left to go, and they could. But I just think the league is, as I listened to a bunch of the podcasts at the end of last year's season, a lot of Oxford United fans are saying, yes, they have to consolidate, but if they do it right, they could stay up. So I'm really curious to see what they're able to do. I mean, they did have a decent amount of players going out, but in the one thing that really scratches my head and says, why is the guy that scored 2 goals in the playoff final, Josh Murphy, why did you let him go to a team that is in this division in Portsmouth and just doesn't
possibly
make sense?
A relegation candidate as well?
Yeah, why you don't keep him? But maybe he asked too much and they wouldn't give him the hometown discount. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think Oxford just not going to have enough of the firepower, and they're going to struggle for a good majority of the season, and end up probably in a relegation battle and end up in League One again.
Yeah, I mean, they picked up Louis Sibley from Derby County and Matt Ingram from Hull, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough for them. I do see them making the drop back down to League One. I have them dead last and 24th. So that's your assessment as well, Chad, 24th?
Yes, 24th, yep.
Next up, let's talk about another team promoted last season from League One. Let's talk about the Rams of Derby County.
Oh, Derby. Where to begin? Another, when we lumped in Stoke, Millwall, QPR all together, Derby County is a championship team. Paul Warner's the manager.
Yep.
If he gets it right, they'll be a decent side, and they'll probably finish about 15th. I think. Where did I have them? I had them 20th. But if they get it wrong, they could be relegated.
Yeah, I have them 21st. I have them just staying up at this point, just about staying up. But with that being said, they've added Ben Osborne, right? Who we all know what he can, I think he's pretty decent at this level. I don't know if he's going to be starting every game for them, but I think he can do a job for them at this level. Ibu Adams from Cardiff, Kenzo Goodmission, I think, and Jerry Yates, as well as they got David Ozo from Crystal Palace. I know he was really sought after. He hasn't had a proper loan yet. This is going to be really his first time playing big boy football, so we'll see if he can do a job for them. But yeah, I do think they stay up. I think maybe just by the skin of their teeth. I'm going to put them actually above Blackburn Rovers right now. Is that good for you?
Yeah, I'm wrong with it.
All right. So we're not going to belabor this any longer. Chad, Sheffield United Football Club, where do you see the Blades finishing at this point right now?
15th.
Yeah, I think that is a little low. Just a little low.
I just don't see anything right now. Just not for me to. It may be a little low. We could probably finish, I think, with the squad we have now, maybe as high as 11th, 10th, 11th, maybe. So in that window, but we spent enough time talking about Sheffield United on here. We might as well just hurry this one along, move to the rest of the league.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chad. I'm going to stick them finishing, or stick us, I should say, finishing just outside of the playoffs. I had us finishing originally 12th, but if with a couple potentially coming in this week, if we can get Cooper signed, if we can get that right back whose name is escaping me right now, Kai Jean, my goodness. Anyway,
Hoover.
Yeah, Hoover, the vacuum man. If we can get him signed, I'm sticking us like around 10th right now.
Okay.
All right. Next up, Luton Town.
I think they come second.
Really?
I think they come second because I think Rob Edwards having him in charge,
no Ross Barkley, no Ryan Giles.
but I mean,
big players for them that have gone out.
But they weren't. Those are also Premier League players, though they're not Championship players. They were never going to hold on to those players. I mean, they went out for a combined $10 million. I mean, I just think there's something of Luton giving it a recharge and going again next year and coming second behind Leeds United.
Yeah, they've also signed Raul Walters from Arsenal and Shandon Baptiste from Brentford. I'm not really familiar with either of their work, but they've signed for nominal fees. So I think they're going to finish playoffs. I've got them third actually, but yeah, I just think there's one team that's going to be a little bit better than Luton. That's going to finish in automatics. So I'm going to stick Luton in playoffs and high in playoffs. I think they're going to finish third. So, you can't really average second and third. But we can have a further discussion towards the end here. We have 5 more teams to go, Chad. Let's talk first about Coventry City.
I have them third. I have Cov coming third. And I think this might be the season. Call me crazy. I think Mark Robbins gets Coventry City into the playoffs and gets them up promoted.
Yeah, they've done a little bit of reloading, right? Jack Rudoni coming in from Huddersfield for a pretty nice fee. Oliver Dovin, a goalkeeper from Hamarby, and then Lewis Binks, a center back from Bologna. And I think they're going to be strong this year. I have them finishing in the playoffs.
Yeah, I got them coming third. So let's snug them right in there. Yeah, snug them right in there.
Okay.
Nestle them right in there.
Nestle them. Next up, let's talk about Portsmouth.
Portsmouth. I got them 18th. This team, I think I feel like I've said this for about half of the teams in this league. This team could surprise some people and finish about 10th. But they could also suck a bag of ass and get relegated. Musinho is their manager, John Musinho, that is. So it just all boils down to how they all adapt, how this Portsmouth team adapts from League One to the Championship, and can they get over that hump and maybe hold out and surprise a few people, and not anything too crazy, but 15th to 18th would be probably a success. They're probably just in this league to stay up for one season.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I do think that they stay up. I mean, I think they've done a little bit of decent business. They added Josh Murphy from Oxford, as we kind of mentioned before, Jordan Williams from Barnsley, both on free transfers, Jacob Farrell, a youngster from the Australian League at left back, and Sam Silvera from Middlesbrough on loan. So I think they need to do a little bit more business, but I don't think they're going to go back down this year. So I'm going to put them right here.
Yeah, there you go, honey.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Now let's go to Middlesbrough.
I have them 8th, just outside of the playoffs. I think the sheen and the shine is wearing a little bit on Michael Carrick's. He's the greatest manager in the history of the world, and he's never lost a match. And I mean, Luke Ayling's probably their best player they brought in this transfer window. But they still have a decent side.
I mean, so look, they lost Paddy McNair and Sam Silvera, but they've made some decent signings. I mean, you mentioned Luke Ayling, Aiden Morris from Columbus and MLS, who I've watched play a few times. He's a pretty decent player. I don't know if he can do it at the Championship, but it's going to be interesting to see. And then Delano Bergzorg, a left winger from Mainz. I actually have them finishing in the playoffs right now, but I could be convinced to put them just outside of the playoffs.
Just outside.
All right. We will put them just outside of the playoffs. Oh, not Burnley.
Not Burnley. Well, we guess who we're doing next, kids? Burnley.
We're doing Burnley.
The Turf Moors. The Turf Monsters. I have them finishing 9th.
9th. How do you justify that? I think that they've done probably some of the best business of any club this offseason.
I just think losing.
You're not a Scott Parker fan. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's appointing Scott Parker and losing the greatest manager in the history of the world. The only one to ever get relegated from the Premier League and then get one of the most sought after jobs in Europe. I just think they struggle just a little bit. I mean, now granted, this is 9th, but they could finish as high as 5th. I don't see them going up automatically.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you there. I think we'll put them in playoffs on aggregate here, but and then possibly move Luton up into autos based on that. I have them 2nd. So, they brought in Mike Tresser from Genk, Maxime Esteve, center back from Montpellier, Lucas Perez from Santo, and I just wonder if Scott Parker can work the same magic that Company had worked 2 seasons ago. If that's the case, yeah, I think they go up. If that's not the case, then I'm going to say playoffs probably is probably their highest, the highest that they'll do. All right, moving them into the playoffs, sticking Luton into second, going up automatically.
Going up automatically.
You got what you wanted, Chad. You got what you wanted.
Going up.
All right. Last but not least, West Bromwich Albion.
A lot of people have them 5.
Okay. I was going to say a lot of people have them finishing in the playoffs. I don't. I've got West Brom 7th. I think they'll be in playoff contention, but I don't think. I mean, they've added Paddy McNair. Okay. Who was a United target. They also added Ousmane Diakite. But, you know, so Nathaniel Shabala left for Wednesday. I think they're going to do okay. I don't know if they're going to finish playoffs, but they might. I'm going to say just outside the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, okay. We'll roll with that. You gave me Luton. You can put West Brom outside the playoffs.
All right, we have to move one team from 7th through 14th into 15th through 21st, and we have to relegate one team.
Well, it looks like it'll be Swansea and Blackburn Rovers because that's where we have them. The 2 teams that are furthest to the end. We just moved down one rung. Sorry, Rovers and Swans fans, you just missed out.
So, Chad, are there any adjustments that you would make to this list as of this moment?
I think not. I think that's a dandy good list.
Yeah. Pretty definitive, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to look back at this at the end of the season and be like, well, we got that one wrong, and we got that one wrong, and these guys. Probably Oxford and Plymouth are going to finish first, second. Leeds and Luton are going to get relegated. You just never know in the best.
This is an impossible league to predict. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun, interesting season in the championship. I'm really looking forward to it. Make sure drop into the comments why you think we're right, why you think we're completely off base. We want to hear from you. And until next time, Chad, I'll leave you with this. Up the Blades.
Up the Blades.